pleasant weather night in downtown Cincinnati. Round 2 of a 4-game series between the National League Central Division leading Milwaukee Brewers, winners here last night, and your Cincinnati Reds. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day and our entire Fox Sports Ohio crew. I'm Tom Brenneman. Thanks for being with us. The bullpen has been one of the real strengths, if not the single biggest strength of this Reds team all year long. But Chris, here over the last week or so, a few leaks for the first time all year long.
Well, you hope that it's a slump and not a trend, that's for sure. But isn't it kind of a coincidence, really, that the bullpen begins to struggle when the weather gets warm and balls start flying out of here? I mean, it's only natural that eventually you're going to have an ebb and flow of performance out of your guys that are down in the bullpen. This is going to be very sticky here for David Bell going forward. You can try to figure out who's fresh, who he can depend on, who's throwing the ball well, because when the weather's hot here, the ball flies out, you've got to really maybe even play more matchup than he ever has before.
Today has been a mighty fine pickup for the Redlegs so far this season. The veteran Tanner Roark, he starts it tonight.
And getting better and better really as the season goes on, coming off an excellent month of June as Roark, and his last outing was another really good one. 1 earned run in 6 innings for him. Last time he faced Milwaukee, he also had a good outing his last time out against the Angels. So he's a guy that is now being a little bit more aggressive in the strike zone. And by the way, his performance against the batters in this Milwaukee lineup have been very good so far in his career. We'll get into that as the game goes on.
Offensively speaking, look who's back and rolling again after a little bit of a bump in the road, and that's Eugenio Suarez.
Even really great hitters, unless your name is Christian Yelich, don't stay hot all the time. I mean, you're going to have a little bit of a mini slump. You're not going to hit the ball well. Other nights, you're going to get out in front of a little changeup like you did last night, and it's going to pop out of the ballpark. But he's hot, and he's in a Nova lineup batting third again. He's got 19 bombs so far this year. Maybe he'll add a couple to that number here tonight.
All right, when we come back, Kyle Farmer in the lineup behind the plate for the first time this season tonight. Our versatility man, Jim Day. We'll talk about the Reds, Mr. Versatility, Kyle Farmer. JD, coming up next.
Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. By Cincinnati Children's Hospital, changing the outcome together. By Furniture Fair for style and flair. Choose Furniture Fair. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good, it's Skyline time.
Hey there, meteorologist Erica Calora. Get ready for a hot and humid Reds game against the Brewers. We are going to have temperatures fall through the 80s, but it will most likely feel a lot hotter than that, especially to start off the game. Now, we do have some storms in the area and will continue the chance for some stray to widely scattered downpours and some thunderstorms across the area. So we stay humid throughout the evening. By the final out, we'll still be tracking widely scattered storms, and any of these storms could produce some gusty winds and definitely some heavy rain. Let's go Reds.
All right, tonight Kyle Farmer makes his first big league start as a catcher. It's nothing new to him. He was drafted as a catcher. He played some innings as with the Dodgers as a catcher, but tonight his first start. They've been putting him through the rigor since Tucker Barnhart went on the IL, mainly trying to get him used to blocking balls behind the plate. They feel Tanner Roark is a perfect match tonight. David Bell, the coaching staff, and Kyle think no problem. He can handle this tonight.
I found myself not catching as much, but playing more infield. And then catching is kind of, I've caught like 9 innings in the big leagues with the Dodgers. And so kind of familiar with it, but 9 innings isn't a lot. So hopefully, get some more here. Being comfortable in the uncomfortable is what I've learned to do. And I think that's what's helped me have success so far. So hopefully just keep it going.
He's Mr. Versatility on this team, and they are really going to dip into that tonight with Barnhart on the shelf and Casale playing nearly every day since he needed a spell, and Farmer being called on here tonight. Roark goes to the hill. Reds trying to even up this 4-game set, a game apiece. Reds and Brew Crew are next. Tom and Chris with the call.
Veteran Tanner Roark in his first season as a Cincinnati Red, set to make his 17th start of the year. Absolutely terrific ERA coming in at 3.3, closing in on 90 innings so far this season. And the Milwaukee lineup he'll be facing, presented by Furniture Fair. We're set to go. We'll give you the lineup here in a moment as Roark is into the windup and delivers strike one to Yasmani Grandal. Rondal, Yelich, Moustakas here to start it in the opening inning. All three headed to the All-Star game in Cleveland 1 week from tonight. Braun will bat cleanup with Thames at first and Kane in center. In the latter third of Hira, the pitcher Chase Anderson, and Orlando Arcia back in at shortstop. Rondal, 18 home runs, 47 knocked in. Caught that one a bit off the end of the bat, and a routine fly ball for Senzel to the glove side. And here you go, presented by Furniture Fair. Yelich homered for the first time in 9 games, 10 days here last night. Little pop fly down the left field line off Robert Stevenson in the 9th inning. Told you Moustakas going to the All-Star game. Thames has become a regular at first, replacing Jesus Aguilar. You know, it's really interesting to look at this Brewer team and what you thought you had going into the year. And we were talking to Craig Counsell, their manager, about this before the game today. Gave you the numbers on Aguilar, over 100 runs batted in, over 30 home runs last year. Travis Shaw, back-to-back years, very good power offensive seasons. And you brought it up last night, Chris. Shaw's in the minor leagues, and Aguilar is on the bench. And yet they're in first place.
Well, they've got the best player in baseball over the last 12 months standing in the batter's box right now. So when you have a guy who is producing at the level that Yelich is producing, you can have some other players basically fall off the radar. And that's exactly what's happened here. He has basically carried this club. This is 1 full year for Christian Yelich from last January 3rd to today. His batting average, .344, 55 home runs, 142, and look at the OPS. Those are big red machine numbers right there.
You're right.
And he can make up for a lot of mistakes.
Those are George Foster numbers when he won the MVP in 1977. Not quite the batting average, but the home runs and the runs batted in. But we mentioned he came limping into this series for a guy who might win the National League's Player of the Month in June. He had really tailed off for the last 9 days. Not hit a home run, and he's gone on strikes. 2 up, 2 down for Roark.
You know, Roark is a really interesting guy to watch pitch, and I really enjoy the way he does it because he doesn't have any one pitch that is a magic pitch. Doesn't have a great fastball or a Gary curveball. Some pitchers move the ball around the strike zone, north and south, in and out. And some guys change speeds. Well, Roark does a little bit of everything, and he has to call on everything he has to get hitters out. He reads hitters in a really good way. And when he's aggressive going after him, he can have really great success. I think the more I see him pitch, the more I think it was just a terrific pickup for the Reds.
Now the batter, Moustakas, and he takes at the belt a strike. Very good year for the longtime Kansas City Royal turned Milwaukee Brewer. 274, 23 home runs, and even 50 runs batted in. Good on base percentage. Solid player. Remember, they had moved Moustakas to second base and let Shaw come back to third when this year began, but Shaw just couldn't stay in the big leagues. He was slumping so badly. Left center field, and this will back up Senzel close to the track in a 1-2-3 beginning for Tanner Roark. Reds coming to bat when we return. Reds 38 up, 44 down with 3 to go in this series, 2 to go against Cleveland leading up to the All-Star break. In the Reds starting lineup presented by Furniture Fair. Senzel back to the top, Votto and Suarez. Jeanette Puig back in the lineup after a rare off day yesterday, or a day out of the lineup. He pinch hit late. Iglesias at short, and Urban starting in left field with Farmer behind the plate. His first major league start as a catcher.
Well, all the eyes will be on Kyle Farmer. Had a good first inning he did. A 1-2-3 inning for Tanner Roark, and now the eyes will be on Chase Anderson. He's been a starter and a reliever. Not an overpowering guy, but he does throw a high fastball. He's got an interesting number about him. What scouts, baseball people will call it reverse splits. And we'll get into that as the game goes on.
Strike one on Senzel.
Basically, for someone who has reverse splits, he's better against left-handers than he is against right-handers. And the main reason why is because his changeup is his main pitch. And that changeup can be more effective against lefties, often is for right-handers. Look at Luis Castillo.
And some of you might have been wondering why no Jesse Winker, a left-handed batter in left field tonight. And I think those numbers would tell you what David Bell saw from Jeff Pickler when they're sitting down and going through everything, Chris, that maybe run Irvin out there against him.
Yeah, you know, this is a case where a pitcher's changeup is a better off-speed pitch than his breaking pitch. What he likes to do, though, is move up the ladder, one rung at a time, and as he gets ahead, you know, remember his name is Chase Anderson. He gets hitters to chase that pitch up and out of the zone, really, more frequently than any other pitcher in baseball, believe it or not. Now, here's the number that we're talking about here. I think it's, for Chase Anderson, 47%. A chase rate on fastballs that are out of the zone. So he shows it to you, puts it in a great spot, it tempts you, and oftentimes you bite at it.
Lined into left field, and that will be a base hit for Senzel to begin the game. You know, one footnote on Chase Anderson, by the way, I'm sure he is pitching with a heavy heart, as many have right now around baseball, Chris. He was a teammate and a good friend of Tyler Skaggs while coming up, the two of them in the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. And, of course, the sad news of his passing yesterday.
I watched a little bit of the press conference that the Angels had about that, and it was heartbreaking to watch. You can see the effect of losing a teammate, a young man like Skaggs, 27 years old. It just leaves a gaping hole in everybody's lives who've been close to him.
A 1-0 count on Joey Votto at 268, 8 home runs, 21 runs batted in. Votto had a hit in 3 at-bats, also walked and scored a couple of runs in the game here last night. Senzel very much a threat to run, and this ball is in the air to straightaway center. Will back up Kane. Center fielder and left fielder still in the bright sunshine. 1 out in the inning. The Milwaukee defense presented by Ford. Ryan Braun, the veteran, back in there in left field, joining Kane and Christian Yelich. And Arcia is back at shortstop. It's been his defense that has found him getting more playing time on the bench here of late. And that was his primary strength coming up as their #1 prospect until arriving a couple of years ago. The red-hot Eugenio Suarez, now the team leader with 19 home runs after clubbing 2 of them in the game here last night, and also a team high 52 runs batted in. Suarez 3 hits here last night, a single in the first inning, a 2-run home run in the 6th, a 2-run home run against Hader in the 8th. 2-0. Brewers have won 7 of the 10 games against the Reds this year. And Suarez has done it yet again. His last 3 at-bats, all home runs. 20 home runs for Eugenio Suarez. Oh, my goodness.
Well, you know you're hot when you're hitting not only the high pitch for a home run, but also a pitch that's down and not a bad pitcher's pitch. Some kind of hot right there. Actually, it is a bad pitch. It was right at knee level, and boy, he's just too hot to get away with that. Early lead.
That is Suarez's 4th home run in the last 2 games and 1 at bat.
That's funny. The Reds have not hit Chase Anderson very well for a batting average, but well, they've taken him deep a few times. For Suarez, that is his 4th hit against Anderson, but 3 of those hits have been home runs.
I told you Suarez with 4 home runs, and that covers his last 9 at bats. And bear in mind that slump he had been in prior to last weekend against Chicago. He had gone 152 at bats with only 4 home runs. And Jeanette is out of there on strikes. 2 away in the inning. We've talked about it already on this homestand. The Reds the most first inning runs among all National League teams. In fact, 22.
Well, that's a great number. But how many times have we seen, though, that the Reds will score early and then the offense kind of goes to sleep? The idea is to keep piling on and wear out that bullpen a little bit. Got him in here for a couple more days.
There's Yasiel Puig. He has been by far the Reds' best hitter, was the Reds' best hitter in the month of June. And now we turn the calendar to July. On the 1st of the month, he had the day off. He did come up late in the game as a pinch hitter and grounded out. We saw those numbers in his last 18 games, nearly a .350 batter, hitting home runs, getting on base, driving in runs. 2-1 on Puig.
Yeah, you see what Yasmani Grandal is doing behind the plate there for Puig. I mean, he's just holding that glove at the very top end of the strike zone. Puig is normally a guy that loves to chase that pitch.
That ball is stung into right center field, but Kane will run it down, and that'll end the inning. Eugenio Suarez picking up where he left off. He had 2 home runs last night, and a 2-run home run his first trip today. Here's tonight's IGS bringing the energy. Yes, indeed. The last 5 starts through this starting rotation have been so good. 7 total runs, earned runs allowed by the starters spanning those 5 games, Chris. That is something else.
It is, especially when you consider the number of innings these starters have pitched. You're so used to seeing them out after 5. Only one of those guys didn't get into the 7th inning out of that last run through. So that's the whole idea. If your bullpen is a little bit on the tired side, your starters have to give them a little bit of a break by going deeper into games. Simple as that.
Nothing Reds, and it will be Braun, Thames, and Kane against Roark, who had a perfect opening inning, with Kyle Farmer making his first major league start behind the plate. A total of 9 innings caught, all with the Dodgers. And Joe Luckham, our statistician, little nugget here. It's actually the 2nd time that Farmer has caught a game at Great American Ballpark. He was the backup catcher behind Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber won the game's most valuable player at the 2015 Futures game that was played here at Great American Ballpark.
That's a good nugget.
Indeed it is. So Farmer's been back here before. I know, Jim Day, you follow this team every single day, going back to Goodyear, Arizona, in spring training, and I know you've gotten to know so many of these Reds through the years so very well, both professionally and personally, and I know that Farmer's been one of your favorites.
He is one of my favorite guys instantly. He's a really interesting guy. In fact, we'll talk more about him later, about things off the field where he's got touches with stardom all the time. And we'll take you back to when he was 6 years old, and he made his national TV debut.
We will look forward to that. He is just such an easygoing, likable guy, big country music fan. You had him earlier in the year, JD, doing the Luke Bryan imitation.
Yeah, we're actually recording a podcast tomorrow as well.
Oh, really?
She says he's going to dish on every
teammate. That's your
teammate.
podcast you're talking
about.
about.
Yeah, he's going to dish on every teammate tomorrow. And he's not afraid to do that in a joking manner, of course.
So your latest podcast, if I'm not mistaken, was Danny Gray's.
It was right? Danny Gray. Oh, it's George Grand this week, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was Danny before that.
I got to tune that in.
Yep.
I bet he had some great stories.
Oh, I mean, you're talking about the guy that hosted the, first Sports Center. We go back to those days.
Yep. Ron lines one at Yasiel Puig for the first out here in the second inning. Take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. You've seen Puig, Senzel, and it's Urban and left. Pretty much a regular infield now with Scooter back. Suarez, Iglesias, Jeanette, Votto, and we mentioned Farmer already, his first major league start behind the plate. Here's Eric Thames. Has really had a solid year for the Milwaukee Brewers. 272 batted, 12 home runs, 35 runs batted in. Not playing quite every day, but has assumed the regular first base position after the struggles of Jesus Aguilar. Well done by a young fan in the stands, making a play on that one. Brought his glove to the game tonight. Atta boy. Got the first baseman's mitt over there. Two on Thames. And that's strike three called, and Thames thought it was ball four. Second strikeout for Tanner Roark.
Well, he thought he was getting the same pitch back to back, and he did, except this one caught a little bit of the plate. You see number 5 was just off the plate, and that little comeback fastball. I'm not sure if it was a two-seamer. I think that looks like a two-seamer to me, and good spot right there. Kyle Farmer not trying to do too much with it, and sells it for strike 3. Good job for Roark and Farmer there.
Now the batter Lorenzo Cain, and a number off the end of the bat, and Roark will just put the tag on it like a high five, low five.
Louisville's connection to the game. Let's take you down on the farm. Louisville bats, Lucas Sims, Josh Van Meter, and Aristides Aquino named to the International League All-Star team. That will be played 1 week from tomorrow. On the AA level, Chattanooga third baseman Mitch Ney named the Southern League Player of the Month in June. Look at the numbers. Outstanding. Congratulations to him.
Interesting, really, on Mitch May, a guy that was originally high round draft pick by the Toronto Blue Jays a few years ago. Signed as a minor league free agent with the Reds. Actually, they picked him up in the in the AAA version of the Rule 5 draft in 2014. And he became a free agent last year, Mitch May did, and then came back and re-signed with the Reds. Having a very good year at the plate. Play a little bit of first base, can also play third. Only 25 years old, so you really never know about Mitch May. It just might be one of those late bloomers.
You never know.
You know, really what you're looking at here with this matchup tonight, Chase Anderson and Tanner Roark, pitchers that are very similar in the way they go about their business. Anderson has a little superior changeup, and Roark's got more movement on his fastball.
That ball hit hard down the right field line towards the corner and foul.
But they both go about their business the same way, which is changing speeds, moving the ball around, you know, not giving in to hitters. And basically it'll come down to which pitcher makes the fewest mistakes. And so far, Roark has not made any, and one big mistake to the wrong guy was Suarez, and that's why the Reds are up 2-0.
3-2 on Iglesias, leading off the Reds' second inning. And it's in the air. Left center field, hit pretty well. Kane going back to the warning track, and he'll run it down for the first out of the inning.
You know, we get a little sneak peek from that center field camera. I just love this shot. If you're a pitching fan, you can look into the glove of the pitcher often. You know, the hitter doesn't know this. No one else knows it but you and me. And we can kind of know ahead of time what he's going to throw. I saw him grip that 3-2 change up, and you can see the final three fingers on his right hand, the middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger when he grips that pitch. Now, if you listen to me carefully, Tom, you know, you can sit in the bar and make some money on that. Just sit there and call pitches.
I'm all about that.
Quarter apiece.
I am all about that. Have somebody besides myself reach into my wallet every now and again. Especially when Jim Day and Tommy Thrall are hanging around. Holy Moses.
Jim Day pretty heavy load, isn't it?
Oh, you kidding me? Trying to figure out who's a heavier load, him or Thrall. Never had that big league meal money disappear more quickly. Phillip Ervin with a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, his goes in one pocket and comes out the other. It goes in his and it comes out of yours.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, both of them. That one into left center field, and it'll fall in a base hit. This will be extra bases. This might be 3 for Ervin. He is going to make the turn. He's coming to third. And here's a throw. He will get in there easily with a triple for Ervin in the lineup and paying early dividends.
And he stayed really back on that curveball a little bit. Got on the end of the bat, but got enough of the sweet spot to deliver it into the gap. And not played well by Ryan Braun. I mean, you can see the age beginning to catch up to Ryan Braun on defense. Ball gets by him, goes all the way to the wall, and that's where Ervin decides to stretch it into 3. And that's a big play for Ervin. When you have one out, that's when you want to take your chance. Because now he's 90 feet away. Gives an easy RBI chance here for Kyle Farmer.
I tell you what, and we've continued to say it even going back to last year's first pitch is a breaking ball strike to Farmer. Whenever Ervin is given the chance to play, he has played well for this team. Now the question is, how many chances is he going to get? There are other guys that might be higher ranked in the organization and a bigger prospect or whatever word you want to use. But on this homestand, he's 7 for 13. He has a double, a triple, and a homer, and has knocked in 3 in the last 2 games.
Well, if you believe in playing the hot hand, it's pretty obvious.
1-1 to Farmer, trying to get him in. And a breaking ball away from him for strike 2.
Yeah, you just can't be too anxious up there, and you know he's anxious. I mean, his first start as a catcher, comes up there, first at bat, runner at third, 1 out, just trying to flip the ball into the outfield, and all of a sudden you're chasing pitches that really aren't your pitches.
Farmer's been productive. 99 at bats. He has 6 home runs and has knocked in 20. Fastball, and he's tardy on that one. Drops it foul and out of play to hang around. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's 99 at bats. He's done that. I mean, that's a 30 home run.
I know.
100 RBI a year.
I'm well aware. And you know, when you stop him and you really start breaking it down, right? He has 99 at bats, and 29 of those are as a pinch hitter. How tough is that job, right? Swing and a miss, and Anderson able to beat him with that fastball up and away, and that's a big strikeout for the Milwaukee right-hander.
Well, again, we talked about it in the very beginning about how he does this better than anybody, which is have hitters chase that high four-seam fastball upstairs.
Well, we know Tanner Roark's more than capable with a bat in hand. He has a home run, 4 hits, couple of runs batted in. And that ball is lined into left field and nearly sailed the head of Braun. Well, that ball was killed by Roark. Scoreless inning for the Reds. They lead by 2.
On stage by Brad Paisley to do his imitation of Luke Bryan. He's been in the movie The Blind Side as one of the football players, and really his on camera started early in life. Check out a 6-year-old Kyle Farmer. He was featured on a Dateline NBC show. They were doing a story on homework, and his parents actually agreed to set up a hidden camera in their house to track him doing homework. And Kyle, he sings, does imitations, and guys, he's done a little bit of everything. He was actually on a traveling jump rope team as well. He does it all.
Wow, how about that? He was on a traveling jump rope team, and you were on that traveling unicycle team.
Only traveling I did is around my own neighborhood. It wasn't actually a team.
Well, we've been talking about that. That's, you know, somewhat likened to the Johnny Cueto video from the Dominican Republic. We're still waiting on that video. And we're waiting on Jim Day's unicycle riding video.
I don't have a unicycle.
No, we can get you.
As we get up in age here.
I can get one tomorrow morning. If I bring one to the ballpark tomorrow, you ride it around?
I'll give it a shot. It's been since I was a teenager since I did it. But I'll give it a shot. If you deliver the unicycle,
I may not be able to do it tomorrow. I'll have it by the way.
Well, do not have, not one of those big tall ones now.
No,
one of the short
I
ones.
understand. I wouldn't do that too.
Tall ones are a little dangerous. I don't think we have the liability for that one.
And maybe we ought to just do back and forth, just takes of you on the unicycle and Johnny Cueto's mom's birthday party. There's a single in the center field, a base hit by Hira. The Reds leading 2-0 here in the third. First base runner.
I'll tell you, this kid can hit now. I mean, if you start looking up his amateur numbers when he was a player at UC Irvine, I mean, the year that he got drafted, he was 20 years old. He batted .442. And he never looked behind when he got into the minor leagues and moved up through the ladder. Hit a home run last night. Ball just jumps off his bat. What a good-looking hitting prospect Hira is.
Here's the pitcher Anderson, squares around a bunt and stabbed at it, missed it.
That's one of those plays right there. Votto kind of left home a little bit early, meaning he left the first base area a little bit early right there. And he really didn't take advantage of it by getting a big lead down there. This time, though, the Reds may put a play on where Votto will act like he's going to charge and then go back to first base. And he does. And they throw over. So it's all kind of a bait and switch, you know, back and forth play right there.
Started to tell you, the Brewers have won 7 of the 10 against the Reds so far this year, including all 4 meetings here at Great American Ballpark. So the Reds are due to get these guys on their home turf. Bunted out in front of the plate, don't get one. And Anderson hustling on the line will beat out the relay throw. Clean, hard slide out there at second by Hira into Iglesias.
Well, the Reds did a great job of setting that up defensively. You know, the dodging back and forth by Votto to try to make sure that Hira didn't get a big lead. You get a bad bunt on the part of Anderson, and you almost turn 2. But that was all set up by, you know, Votto holding the line over there at first base, making sure that Hira didn't get a big lead. A little dangerous play there by Iglesias. Had his left leg planted. And, well, when Hero slid into him right there, that was a recipe for potential danger.
Iglesias appears to be all right. Hero's making sure he was all right. Double play ball here, but they really have to hurry. With Arcia running in, they'll get it done, and that's all for the Brewers here in the 3rd inning. Reds lead after 2.5, 2-0. Saturday and Sunday, get any sun or moon deck ticket, I beg your pardon, including the all-you-can-eat package for Saturday or Sunday for $40 total, all you can eat. Go to Reds.com/FSOhio right now and get yours. Available tonight only. Well, one is just digging in and the other one's ready to take a little snooze. Uh-oh. Just spotted the cotton candy. What do you suppose they're talking about there, Chris?
That little blue spot on her cheek, was this cotton candy? How does it look on me?
He's giving that back to Mom to make sure she doesn't have to share it.
Good night at the ballpark.
Yes, it is. Perfect.
You know, when the rain shower came through, they had the tarp on the field around batting practice time, and it delayed the Reds BP a little bit. But boy, it sure lowered the temperature from, you know, 92 or 93 degrees down into the high 80s, and not too much humidity. Pretty nice night here tonight.
Well, we're lucky. I mean, it's been very warm the last few days, but it hasn't been terribly humid. It's just been hot. And
by Cincinnati standards.
Yeah, by Cincinnati standards. It's been a nice summer week. Still very comfortable, even in the shade in the middle of the day. It's not awful by any means. All right, top of the order for the Reds. They lead Chase Anderson and the Brewers 2-0 here in the last of the 3rd inning. Senzel singled to left field, scored on the home run by Eugenio Suarez in the opening inning. Straight away center field. Kane will get to it, 1 away. It's very interesting, I thought, your tech talk with Nick Senzel before the game today, and you had asked him about his approach to hitting, and he said, you know, might be for some guys, but this whole launch angle thing and backspin and all this, he said, maybe other guys can do it. He said, I just can't do it. I'm only thinking about one thing, and that's when that guy throws the ball on the mound, is to hit it where it's pitched and hit it as hard as I can.
Yeah, you know, I think that's kind of an old school approach. Now, it doesn't mean he doesn't buy into it in the offseason and preparation and trying to improve his swing angle and the efficiency of his swing. You do that, but when the game begins, I mean, it comes down to see the ball, hit the ball. If you need to get a runner over to third base, you hit the ball to the right side. If you need a fly ball to center field, you know, to drive a run in from third, you figure out a way to do that. The last thing you need to worry about there is, you know, the percentage of time a pitcher throws a certain pitch, or what his spin rate is, or what your launch angle is, or anything else. I mean, it comes down to, you know, playing catch and hitting the baseball.
Votto's another guy who would say the exact same thing. And I'm not sure there's anybody that knows any more about hitting than Joey Votto does. And he just says, you know, that whole launch angle thing and all that might be for some guys. Votto has said it many, many times. He says it's just not for me. But you sure do hear about it an awful lot in baseball circles, or at least those that are running baseball teams.
Yeah, you do, but again, I think that the biggest challenge for teams as they embrace analytics and big data is to, and I don't want to say dumb it down, but you have to boil it down so that players can actually put it into practice. I mean, it's one thing for the front office guys and those that know how to crunch the numbers to figure out what all this data means, but it's another thing for you to actually get your players to put it in use. And that's where the challenge remains.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Joey. Flied out to center field his first time up. Now the count even. Really, really good numbers for Votto in his career against Anderson. And he'll build upon those with a base hit into right center field. A couple of hard hit balls here in the third by Senzel for an out.
It's funny how Chase Anderson, we talked about his reverse splits, and we showed you that. Right-handers hitting over 300, left-handers hitting only 170, unless, of course, your left-handed hitter is named Joey Votto.
Votto aboard, and now Suarez, each of his last 3 trips to the plate. 2-run homer, 2-run homer, 2-run homer. First pitch, breaking ball, and a good one. Our StatCast AI, powered by AWS. That home run to deep left center field at 105 miles per hour exit velocity. And that's a chip shot at 412.
He's got a beautiful swing, doesn't he? Just a beautiful sweeping swing.
Now they're going to get the double play here. And that will retire the side. We move to the 4th. Reds 2, Brewers nothing. Today's Humana Prevent defense. Take a look at Yasiel Puig. 4 defensive runs saved, 3rd best among right fielders in all of Major League Baseball, and Iglesias a 9th most by all Major League shortstops with 5. That ball lined into right, and Puig up to get it as if on cue. How about that?
Or he plays awfully good defense. You know, you don't usually talk about defense when you're talking about a right fielder unless you're talking about his arm. And we all know how good of an arm that Yasiel Puig has, but he has been just on the spot. Gets good jumps on the ball. He goes hard into the wall in foul territory. Excellent defense.
And that's a very important play when you've got Grandal leading off an inning in front of guys like Christian Yelich and Mike Moustakas. Yelich struck out swinging his first time up. A run at a National League Triple Crown isn't crazy when you start looking inside the numbers of Christian Yelich. Swinging a foul ball back out of play. Jeff McNeil, what a year he's having. He's going to the All-Star game, rookie for the Mets. He is the National League leader with a .348 batting average. A National League player has not won the Triple Crown since 1937. The Cardinals' Joe Medwick. That's National League. Yelich has faced Roark more than any other pitcher in his major league career. All those years together, they were playing inside the National League East. Yelich with the Marlins. And this one is launched into left center field, and he's homered in back-to-back games.
Yeah, that's danger zone. This is what really separates Christian Yelich from a lot of other power hitters. I mean, you know that when he hits the ball hard to right field, it's out of here. But not all left-handed hitters have this kind of juice going opposite field. The way he throws his hands at the ball, and this is where the difference is. Keeps his head back, his hips are back, and he just throws his hands. That pitch is a couple of inches outside. I mean, believe me, and there are a ton of players in big league baseball that are bigger and stronger and more intimidating looking. I mean, he looks more like a guard in basketball than he does, you know, the new prototypical power hitter in baseball.
It's interesting to note that as many times as they have faced one another in all those years playing in the same division, that until this year, Yelich had never homered off Roark. He had a home run off of him earlier this year, and now a second one comes here tonight.
Well, think about it. When did Christian Yelich really become more of a home run hitter?
Last year.
Yeah, and that's when the Brewers acquired him in the offseason to begin the 2018 campaign. Boy, they have him under control for a very reasonable amount of money until, what, 2021?
Well, you were talking about that you could have, what, 5 Christian Yelich for the first, for
next
one
year,
Mike Trout.
Next year, you can have 5 Christian Yeliches for 1 Mike Trout. If there are 5 out there.
There aren't. 2 down in the inning. When you consider, you know, we talk about it a lot. Is it a good investment, bad investment? To look, you know, you at home, you don't want anybody telling you how to spend your money. I don't want anybody telling me how to spend my money, and I'm not going to tell Major League Baseball owners how to spend their money. And obviously, it's a team game. However, if you're the Washington Nationals, you made the decision not to sign Bryce Harper for all of that money, right? Over of $250 million straight up in the air. The Washington Nationals are a game and a half behind the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, there's a lot more to it than that, obviously. But I don't think that game and a half difference is Bryce Harper so far this year. Do you? And out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter.
6 years ago tonight. Tonight's Geico Reds historical moment. Reds' 15th all-time no-hitter and Bailey's second in as many seasons.
It's funny what you learn. I didn't even think I called either one of those no-hitters. There's a pop-up into foul ground on the first pitch to Jeanette, and that'll be handled by Moustakas. 1 pitch and 1 out for Chase Anderson. I remember that first one. George Grant was on the call. You were in the booth there, Chris, in Pittsburgh, and George had that beautiful scorebook. That was so nice what he used to do. He'd take his scorecard, and he'd get it signed by all the players on the team, right? And George would sign it, you would sign it, and would have it. I don't know if laminated or like in a little frame, or no, I can't remember what he used to do on
you
that.
Package it up with the game notes for the day, and then just kind of make it a full package of what was going on that day, with the full scorecard and all the autographs of all the players.
And I remember that George was leaving after Pittsburgh. I was coming in as the team was going to St. Louis, and you took that thing down there and presented it to Homer Bailey.
And he rejected it. Said he didn't care about it. So I think it found the round file somewhere, unfortunately. We all move on.
We all move on. I thought that was one of the coolest things, not the rejection part, but I thought with George doing that was one of the coolest things.
You know, George would do that for players that would get their first major league hit, maybe a debut of a pitcher, you know, stuff like that. A very thoughtful man. Very thoughtful.
And anybody who's ever been around him for 5 minutes would not be surprised.
You'll even know more about George if you listen to the Jim Day podcast this week. He's on there. He is G squared.
And that's at Reds.com, is it not, Jim Day?
Yeah, Reds.com/Jim Day or Apple Podcasts, really on all the major podcast devices. Yeah, we talk about 30 years as the host of the National Baseball Hall of Fame ceremonies and all those relationships. He was an intern for Vince Scully. 27 years in the booth with Chris. I mean, there's a lot of things we get into.
That's amazing. Amazing career. And an even better guy. 2 down in the inning. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign, and believe it or not, Derek Dietrich did it today during batting practice. The first time I've ever seen it happen. If it happened during the real game tonight, Jim Plugman of Cincinnati will win that Tundra thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you could hear it throughout the entire ballpark when it hit that. And the actual word Tundra in red letters out there during BP today. Inning is over. Reds gone in order. We played 4. Reds 2. Milwaukee 1. Brought to you by Ford. Go further. And by Kroger. It's easy to place your order online. Pick it up in the store. Try it today at Kroger.com. You know, after the game last night, I mentioned yesterday was our daughter Ella's 16th birthday. So I met her and a number of her friends, and my wife Polly and our son Luke, over there at that Ferris wheel last night. I guess technically it's called the Sky Star, and it was really cool to learn that as of a few days ago, it looked like that thing was no longer going to be in downtown Cincinnati, and now apparently the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners, they are working on extending that thing anywhere from 5 to 10 more years. I think it is so cool, and what it's added to just the whole look of our skyline when you come into our town. And I say our town. Chris, you live here year-round. I live here year-round. Most of you who are watching live here year-round. It's great. High drive into left center field, and this game is tied as Eric Thames clubs a solo home run to left center field. It's 2-2.
I'll tell you, it is not an easy task to pitch in this ballpark when the weather heats up. I mean, Thames is strong, yes. But that ball looked like it was a fly ball coming off the bat that would maybe go to the warning track. And it just keeps going and going and going. That's a good swing Thames put on it, though. Tough place to pitch.
And there's a strike to Lorenzo Cain.
So if you're Tanner Roark, you think, I don't know. I mean, maybe I make a mistake, but the guy hits an opposite field home run. Yelich did that. Thames has done that. I mean, he's got to feel like he's throwing the ball extremely well here tonight.
Well, he's only given up 3 hits. And here we are in the top of the 5th inning. But 2 of those, as you mentioned, the solo home runs from Christian Yelich and now Eric Thames. The Reds offense, since that 2-run home run by Suarez, the 3rd batter of the game, they have a grand total of 2 hits. They missed a big chance after a one-out triple by Urban in the second inning. Votto able to knock it down and still gets the out. Boy, that was close. Roark lucky he wasn't stepped on.
Well, not an easy play when the pitcher and the ball gets there at the same time. I thought Votto could have put a little bit more on that little throw to Roark so that he didn't have an arc in the ball, maybe throw it overhand and get it to him quickly before he has to negotiate the ball and the bag simultaneously. That's a good job by Roark.
All right, here's Hira. He had a rocket single into center field his first time up. Strike one. Hira had 2 hits, including a solo home run, scored a couple of times in the game last night. I tell you what, if this guy keeps swinging the bat the way he's swinging the bat, there certainly would be reason for concern for Travis Shaw, because Moustakas is not going anywhere. And you got to wonder if we're not looking at the start of a long run at second base by Hira. 2 down in the inning.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that they feel that Hira is the second baseman for a long, long time to come. Now, whether Shaw makes it back up is really entirely up to Shaw. And I think what's important when a guy like Travis Shaw gets sent down, not just for Travis, but players that are in that same circumstance, it's how well they get off to a start when they first get down there. You got to go down to AAA, and he'll work hard. I mean,
yep.
I understand. I talked to Rick Sweet, his manager, yesterday, and he's already been down there to take early ground balls and work on everything to try to get back up here. And he's going to give it a good effort. You know that. But it's important to get off to a good start so you don't get down there and you kind of bury yourself even more. I think part of the problem with Shaw, he put a lot of pressure on himself. And that, you know, he knew that Hira is their top prospect, and it put a little more pressure on himself than he probably needed to.
Game tying home run by Thames. Reds come to the plate in a 2-2 affair.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Kroger and the Reds are proud to team up to offer you a great value this year. It's called the Kroger Meal Deal. You get it for $9.25. Kroger Meal Deal includes a hot dog, a bag of chips, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Twizzlers. Make sure to get your Kroger Meal Deal your next trip to Great American Ballpark. Reds are in town through the July 4th Independence Day weekend. A rare Friday night off, but the big 150th anniversary bash here at the ballpark. Open and free to the public. You can get in areas you've never seen before. Have concerts going on, 4 bands lined up. Right into a big night of fireworks. And of course we have fireworks here tomorrow night. So the Cubs come in, the Reds beat them 2 out of 3. Tonight and 2 more to go against the Brewers, and then the Indians in the battle for Ohio on Saturday afternoon and Sunday night. Lined into right center field, and again it's Urban. He had a triple his first time up. And now a single to begin the 5th inning in a 2-2 game.
I think one thing Urban has been able to do is negotiate that curveball from Chase Anderson. The same pitch he got a base hit on his first time up. This is a good one, too. He may have caught a lot of the plate, but it was well down below the knees, and he just dropped that bat head and lines it into right center field.
Now here's an interesting nugget for you. Again, our statistician Joe Luckham coming up with this. Reds who have started as a catcher and a second baseman in the same season. You know about Kyle Farmer. He's doing it now, adding the catcher spot here tonight. How about Willard Hirschberger? Remember him?
No.
How about Ivy Wingo? Remember him?
I think he did my taxes one time.
And how about Manuel Cueto?
No.
You sure to go to his birthday party?
I could have as an uninvited guest.
That'd have been in 1917 and 1918.
Okay.
That might have been Mrs. Puig's dad. You never know.
They know how to throw a party now.
She was celebrating her, 50th birthday
50th,
when you were
yeah.
down there?
Yeah.
Big old bash, and you were a big part of it.
They eat late at those parties.
They do?
Yeah. They brought the main dinner out about 10:30 at night.
And you were just firing up the camera.
I'm used to the early bird special.
Oh, and 2 on Farmer. And he keeps pumping him those fastballs once he's gotten to 2 strikes in the count. That's how he struck Kyle out his first time up with a runner at third and only 1 out.
Anderson really feeds off those hitters that are extra aggressive, because he never really likes to throw it in the zone, and when he gets ahead, he'll make you chase. They want another fastball right here. Up.
And up it goes off the bat of Farmer. The shortstop, Arcia, out to get it for out number 1. Roark coming up. And now a quick word from Mike's Car Wash.
When the Reds win on Tuesday, you'll save $5 off the ultimate wash on Wednesdays at Mike's Car Wash.
Yeah, no bow tie on this bow tie
Yeah,
Tuesday.
well, one of the rare bow tie Tuesdays where we're not sporting a bow tie, a little bit warm, so we're in golf shirts. But of course, if the Reds win tonight, I'll be the first one there at Mike's tomorrow morning to get a nice shiny car coming out of that car wash. Love that place.
Yes, indeed. Well, Roark has one of the hardest hit balls of the night. His only time up. He lined out to Ryan Braun, and Braun came in and then had to reach high up in the air to keep it from going over his head. Runner takes off, and he never got to the bag. Irvin thrown out trying to steal.
He did not have a big lead at all. I think that was a hit and run all the way, because, you don't necessarily want to get a stolen base lead out there, put anybody on notice that you're thinking about having a play. And I guess the confidence that David Bell had was that Roark would be able to at least put the ball in play somewhere or foul it off.
And Roark lifts one into deep right field. Yelich will play it in front of the wall. And that will end the inning. We're off to the 6th in a 2-2 game. Time to take a look at our game summary in the opening inning. Eugenio Suarez, his 3rd consecutive at bat with a 2-run home run. Reds were off and running for Suarez, number 20. And since then, Yelich the other way, number 31 on the season. And then leading off the 5th inning, it was Thames with a towering fly ball to the seats in left center to tie it up at 2 apiece. Our Honda game summary. Tanner Roark heading out there in the top of the 6th inning in a 2-2 game. Couple of birthdays today of Major League Baseball players that have Cincinnati ties. Tell you about those in a minute. Show your Reds pride when the Indians come to town. It's the battle for the Ohio Cup. The first 20,000 fans on Saturday receive an Ohio Cup t-shirt thanks to Fox Sports Ohio. Those are nice shirts. For tickets, visit reds.com/150. Our old buddy Sean Casey celebrating a birthday today. The mayor.
How old is the mayor today? Do you know?
I believe it said he was born in 1974. Could that possibly be right? Or did I misread that? He was up on the scoreboard very quickly. 1974, born in New Jersey. And the other birthday, 10 years younger, was with the Reds for a short while. But, Chris, I know you remember him well. Vladimir Valentin.
Boy, he went off back to, was it Korea or Japan? That had
Japan.
Just a incredible big league career over in Asia. I mean, big-time power hitter.
And now has gone on and become an extraordinarily successful, uber successful businessman in his time spent over there in Japan. So happy birthday to Sean Casey and Vladimir Valentin. Garcia count of 1-2, and a fastball is up and away. And struck him out on a breaking ball. 3 of them in the game now for Tanner.
Well, this is the number 1, number 2, and number 3 way to pitch Orlando Arcia. You see, kind of steps in the bucket there, and if you can start that pitch, middle, and then work that pitch away, and had good downward break for Roark's curveball, and it's a strikeout. But if you leave one out over the plate, he's got some power. Takes a big hack every time.
He's got 11 home runs on the year. And a fastball is in to Yasmani Grandal. He is flying to right and lined out hard on a nice play made by Yasiel Puig in the 4th.
I mean, 10 years ago, would you ever imagine a guy like Yasmani Grandal being a leadoff hitter? And this is one way where, big data and analytics have really changed baseball, I think, for the better. And because you take a look at a guy like Grandal, he sees a lot of pitches, takes a lot of walks, has some power, puts the pitcher on notice right away. Do not make a mistake. And he's a good fastball hitter. So when you get behind in the count, he's going to see fastballs because you have Christian Yelich batting behind him.
And 1 on Grandal. And a fastball paints the inside corner, a strike.
Reds have been doing that for Grandal the last couple of nights. He had 3 walks last night, a couple of strikeouts, but they were pitching him up and in just about every opportunity they could. Roark has shaken off every sign that Kyle Farmer has dropped for him and go back through it again.
And off the inside corner, ball 4. Here's tonight's stats with Lowe's. 30 or more home runs before the All-Star break among National Leaguers the last 20 seasons. No surprise, twice Barry Bonds on that list. Luis Gonzalez Gonzo in Arizona, World Championship year in 01. The great Albert Pujols, and now Christian Yelich.
Pretty good list to be on right there. There's other ways to measure players nowadays, very efficient ways. And when you start measuring Yelich over the last year, we showed you what his batting average, home runs, RBIs were. But when you start comparing him to other players, this is the war, wins above replacement in the last calendar year for Christian Yelich, which makes him a better player in the last year than Mike Trout or Matt Chapman. Each of guys had tremendous years. So, and the other, I don't know if it made it on that list or not. We could see that one more time. The highest Red over the last calendar year is Eugenio Suarez at 2.8 WAR. So this is why the Brewers can miss Travis Shaw and Jesus Aguilar, and really not even skip a beat because you have this guy carrying such a heavy load.
0-2 on Yelich. Jam shot roller foul. That's a pitch that Roark struck him out on in the first inning. That fastball high and tight. The walk to Grandal, the first all night tonight given up by Roark. Well, we're in a 2-2 game. And you've got the big boppers with Yelich and then Moustakas.
They like Yelich to pull the ball, preferably on the ground, and that's why Roark would like to get him inside here. The home run he hit last night was a pitch up and out of the strike zone. Same with tonight, pitches out of the zone away.
Struck him out on a slow breaking ball.
Now, 4 strikeouts on the night for Roark, and 2 of them from Christian Yelich. I think Yelich, look where his foot went on that. I'd love to see one of those replays again. He was looking for a pitch on the inner part of the plate because he was kind of stepping a little bit towards first base right there. Still could not wade back on the curve.
Now Mike Moustakas. And that ball is launched into right field, and the Brewers have the lead. Just when you get your breath after retiring Yelich, it's the 24th home run of the year by Moustakas. And Milwaukee leads for the first time in this game.
Well, double trouble when you're a right-handed pitcher and you're facing the Brewers. Grandal switch hitter. Yelich left-handed, Moustakas left-handed, and a little cutter right there that just kind of hangs on the inner third, and Moustakas is all over it.
Roark had only given up 3 home runs in 7 prior starts in this ballpark this year.
I remember having a conversation last year with Craig Counsell about, just kind of general terms and batters. Who do you like, who you don't like? We went through some names and players and so on, but basically what he really likes are left-handed hitters in the lineup facing right-handed pitchers. And he's got a bunch of them in his lineup. I mean, look at the Reds pitching staff, and except, well, Sonny Gray does a good job against lefties, and so does Luis Castillo. But the other guys, when they have an Achilles heel, it is left-handed hitters against Mahle, DeSclafani, Tanner Roark.
Little number in the center field, going to fall at a base hit for Ryan Braun, his first hit in 3 at-bats tonight. So now Thames. We'll see if Roark can pick up that final out and give his offense with the top of the order coming up in the bottom of the 6th inning. A chance to claw their way back. Ball 1 to Thames, who hit a home run to left center field. Oh, that ball hit him. Yep, barely got that padded right elbow of Thames. Now Lorenzo Cain, a very important batter in this inning, with another Brewer in scoring position. Solo home run by Yelich in the 4th, solo home run to tie it by Thames in the 5th, and a 2-run home run to break the tie by Moustakas here in the 6th. 2-0. Two balls and no strikes on Kane. 2 on, 2 out, 2 in. And Kane swinging from his heels on that 2-0 pitch, and he's tardy and drops it foul and out of play.
I'm a little surprised actually to see Lorenzo Kane in the lineup tonight. The way he was nursing his thumb after he took a very odd swing last night. He shook his hand. You can see the wrap around his right thumb. Had a thumb injury that's been bothering him all year, but this guy, he is a gamer and a very good player. Played his junior college baseball at Tallahassee Community College. One of my old roommates, Mike McLeod, coaching him down there.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Roark trying to put away Kane and got him on a breaking ball to retire the side. A 2-run home run by Moustakas breaks a 2-2 tie. Reds have work to do coming to bat in the 6th.
At the young age of 27, and tributes abound in the league. Patrick Corbin, whom is best friends with Skaggs and their teammates in Arizona, pitching tonight for the Nationals. Wrote 45 on the mound, his initials on the hat, and even here in Cincinnati. Joey Votto, rest in peace. Tyler Skaggs, just a sad, sad story and affecting the baseball world in a big way.
They are playing tonight in Texas after canceling that game last night between the Angels and the Rangers. That game just underway. 0-1 to Senzel. See if the Reds can get something, anything going against Chase Anderson. He gave up a 2-run home run, 2 hits of the first 3 batters of the game. He has allowed a total of 3 hits since then, 2 of them to Phillip Ervin and 1 to Joey Votto. Votto on deck, and then it'll be Suarez, with the Brewers leading 4-2.
Third time in this game that Senzel has led off.
Single to left, scored a run into first, lined out to the center fielder Kane in the 3rd. Anderson lost to the Reds in Milwaukee back on June the 21st. That was during that 4-game series where the team split the 4 games. He allowed 6 runs in 5 innings and an ERA of up over 5.5 in his last 9 starts against the Reds, but only 2 runs tonight. And this is a Cincinnati offense that, I mean, it has to keep David Bell and Turner Ward up at night. You just don't know from day to day what it is you're going to get. Three and 2 the count. Anderson thought that was strike 3. I think Senzel might have been a little surprised that that was ball 3. high fly ball, short left. Braun's got it for out number 1.
Yeah, what the Reds are learning tonight about Anderson is that his changeup, I mean, even when he throws it up in the zone in a hittable spot, is so good. Sells it like a fastball. They've got themselves off stride a little bit, hitting off the front foot, making it look easy. He has had 3 batter innings each of his last 3 innings. And made 1 mistake all night. That was to Suarez.
Votto fly to center in the first inning, and he singled into right center field his last time up, 1 of 2. Two on the way, and a fly ball down the left field line. And did Braun get it? What a nice play by Ryan Braun. Really nice play by Braun.
He looked good defensively on this one. I mean, he knows when to get down. He slides into the wall feet first. Makes a really nice catch. He did not look good going after ball in the gap off of Senzel earlier, at Phillip Ervin early in this game.
He's limping around pretty badly out there. What was a left foot that went crashing into that wall?
They're going to send out a replacement player right now for him, and I guess a double switch here for Craig Counsell.
Yep, Gamble going to come out and take his place in left field, and they'll bring in Freddie Peralta. With the right left leg got jammed in there pretty good, and maybe the right knee hit the bottom. No, knee never got there. He's limping back. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Chase Anderson, 5 2/3 innings of 2-run baseball. Braun taken out of the game over there visiting with the bench coach under Craig Counsell, Pat Murphy, and Freddie Peralta. We've seen him, Chris, in the past. He's thrown some really outstanding games in his career as a starter against the Reds.
Earlier this year, he had one of the better games we've seen all year as a starter. I mean, a flaming fastball in the upper 90s, great changeup that day. You never know that by looking at that earned run average, but live stuff, no question about it.
Got fired up tonight, got a souvenir. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Suarez, and a breaking ball that just froze him at the plate, strike 3. So Peralta with a strikeout to end the inning. We're off to the 7th. Milwaukee up by 2. Plate appearances ending in 3 true outcomes: a home run, a strikeout, or a walk. Almost, well, a little over 39% for Seattle. Milwaukee almost at 39%, and look, they're about 37.5 tonight. This is one of the great concerns of Rob Manfred, the commissioner. Every year going higher and higher, the overall average Which basically tells you, I mean, everybody loves a home run. That's great. But when it comes to a strikeout and a walk, there is zero action. 0 balls put in play, and there's nothing going on.
Well, there are more and more Adam Dunn approaches than ever before.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a pioneer when it came down. I think overall in his career, his true outcome percentage was over 50%.
Right away, center field hit a long way by Hero.
Well, he's a tough out.
But Chris, you can understand why it's a concern for the powers that be of Major League Baseball. It's just a lot of standing around and swinging as hard as you can and taking a lot of pitches and nothing going on.
Well, you know, it's really two-sided, though, Tom. You have hitters that are trying to hit more home runs, and they don't have the disdain for strikeouts that used to be.
Yep.
And you have pitchers that are throwing harder. They're basically going as hard as they can for as long as they can, especially middle relievers. So they're getting a lot more strikeouts, and it's just that combination. So a rally nowadays is like very typical of what the Reds did in the first inning. A base hit by Senzel, a home run by Suarez. That is basically the epitome of a baseball rally.
More accurately, what the Brewers did in the 6th inning. A walk and a homer.
Yeah.
To take the 2-run lead that they have right now.
I mean, how often do you see any more, 3 or 4 hits strung together in an inning with a hit and run involved and things like that? It's the evolution of the game. I don't know if you can get in the way of that.
Well, it's still one of the best articles I've read in a long time, and that it ultimately comes down to, and listen to what you're talking about, how hard the big and strong the swings are, the exit velocity, the velocity of pitchers out on the mound. And that was the name of that article written in the Washington Post a couple of weeks ago. Velocity, and how that more than anything else has changed baseball on many different fronts. And according to the guy who wrote it, not for the better, although everybody can be their own judge in regard to that. In the air, left center field, had him shaded that way, and Gamble, his first at bat, retired. 2 down in the inning, and Roark out away from giving you 7 innings of 4-run baseball here tonight.
Well, he's got to feel like he's pitched a lot better than giving up 4 runs, but that's the reality of pitching in the hot summer night in Cincinnati. I mean, Moustakas, that was a hard hit, legitimate home run. But the opposite field jobs by Yelich and Eric Thames, you wonder how many other ballparks those would have left the yard.
Well, that was the thing we had the other day. It's the first time I'd ever seen it where we put up on the screen that it was a home run in only 10 of the 30 parks. I thought that was pretty cool. Here's Arcia. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Roark is now a strike away from 7 innings of 5-hit 4-run baseball. 3 home runs allowed. He's only walked 1 batter, but that hurt him because it was a 1-out walk to Grandal. He wound up striking out Yelich. If you force Grandal to put it in play and get it out, you never see Moustakas in that inning. Roark is fanned 5 and hit a batter.
Struck him out on a 2-2 curveball his last time up. Count is again 2-2.
On the ground and by a diving Suarez up the left field line. And in with a stand-up double is Arcia. It looks like the night is over for Tanner Roark.
Well, it was a curveball again, but you can see where he just kind of hung it right there in Arcia's wheelhouse, and Arcia pounds it into the ground, but down the third base line. Good effort tonight by Tanner Roark. I mean, really good effort. The Reds just have not been able to get him very many runs.
6 2/3, 6 hits allowed by Roark. He will leave in the 7th and give way to Michael Lorenzen. We're back in a moment. Well, baseball's two biggest events this summer coming up back-to-back. The T-Mobile Home Run Derby. That'll be on Monday the 8th at 8 o'clock Eastern. And then catch baseball's biggest stars, a 90th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. That'll be July the 9th on Fox. Coverage will begin on Tuesday from Cleveland, Ohio at 7:30. Tanner Roark. Those are the final numbers. And of course, his man out at second base is Grandal, is Michael Lorenzen, or his man at second base, I beg your pardon, is Arcia, and Grandal the batter against Michael Lorenzen.
Well, the Reds are short on left-handers. If you wanted to turn around Grandal and then bring in a lefty to face Yelich and Moustakas, Thames. But Lorenzen has had a good run against Grandal and Yelich. 1 for 6 is Grandal, and 1 for 13 off of Lorenzen is Christian Yelich. So that's why he's in there right now.
And with the big shift on, Arcia picked up on it right away and just took off for third and went there without a throw.
I think Kyle Farmer's done a nice job behind the plate tonight. Moves smooth back there as the pitch may go from one spot to another. Doesn't have a lot of needless movement ahead of time where a pitcher feels like he's trying to hit a moving target. Some catchers have a tendency to move a lot.
And 1 on Grandal, and now he wants timeout. Boy, you just can't walk this guy.
But he walked 3 times last night, once already tonight.
Yep. Line 1 hopper picked up by Votto, and that will end the inning. So Lorenzen picks up the final out. Reds coming up. They stand and stretch, trailing by 2. Weekly, Pete Rose, Ray Fosse share their views on that collision in the 1970 All-Star Game. Barry Larkin looks back on the 1988 All-Star Game at Riverfront. Remember Sabo? Catch an all-new Reds Weekly tomorrow at 6 right here on Fox Sports Ohio, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. I was at that All-Star Game. That was so cool when Chris Sabo got to play in that game. Wound up winning, of course, the Rookie of the Year. Scooter Gennett to lead things off against Freddie Peralta, who is on in relief of Anderson. Anderson 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. And now Peralta, who would like to try and pitch his way back into the Milwaukee rotation, but you know, he was suffering from the same problem we had heard about in regard to last night's starter Adrian Hauser. They threw the ball lights out in the bullpen, but when they had a chance to start, they didn't do so well. Outside of Peralta, one game very early this year against the Reds, pitched an outstanding game as they started.
Yeah, he would look like he was on Cy Young Award track after that game. That was back on April the 3rd. Peralta pitched 8 innings of 2 hit, 11 strikeout, no walk baseball. I mean, he just dominated the Reds in that ball game.
3-1 to Scooter.
The very next start, he went out and gave up 7 runs. And 2 starts later, he gave out 6 runs.
0 for 2 tonight. He struck out and fouled out to the left fielder, Braun. High pop fly down the right field line, and it's out of play. That's a big smile for that young lady down there.
Hey, they were down on the field before batting practice tonight. Met them as they came through the run.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of people came down to batting practice before the game tonight.
Yeah, there were a lot. You're right. Three and two again on Jeanette. And again down the right field line, and again out of play.
Yeah, Scooter's had a couple of pitches there to hit, and you can tell his timing just a little bit off. Just out ahead of those.
Second baseman will handle it for out number 1 here in the 7th. Yasiel Puig is lined to center and bounced back to the pitcher. That ball in the air hit a ton by Puig, and it is a 1-run affair. Home run number 18 for Yasiel Puig, and it's a 4-3 ball game.
Sounds awfully good coming off his bat. Puig gets a pitch up. Aggressive on a first pitch fastball, and that ball's out of here. He'll make some friends out there in right field with a souvenir into the moon deck.
7th home run for Puig in the last 16 games he's played. And the most hits in Major League Baseball in the first pitch of the at-bat. 24 of them now. Breaking ball. Almost hit Iglesias. 2 balls and no strikes. Irvin next. He already has a couple of hits tonight. You know, it's so interesting to look back on what happened last night, and we talked about it at the time. And it's not to suggest that one guy's right and another guy's wrong, and it's not to suggest Craig Counsell wouldn't do it differently in a certain situation, or maybe David Bell, whatever the case may be. But remember last night when Josh Hader came into the game, and he gave up a 2-run home run to Suarez, but he got the final 2 outs in the 8th inning, and when he came in, it was still a save situation. So if he would have been allowed to pitch the bottom of the 9th, and Craig Counsell was concerned about getting Josh Hader, another individual stat, getting him a save, he could have left him in the game. But when the Brewers scored 2 more runs in the top of the 9th inning off Robert Stevenson, Craig Counsell said, no, I'm not sending him back out there. Now, granted, he doesn't give Hader the individual glory of getting what would have been a 21st save this year. Of course, he's going to end up saving 41 or 50 before the year's over anyway. But what it means is he's more than likely now available tonight. You pitch him 2 innings last night, he probably doesn't pitch tonight. But 1 inning last night, you can mark it down. He'll pitch tonight.
Well, if he is the closer, then he probably would have been out there for the 2nd inning. But what I think is that they have dual closers, if you want to call it that, with Jeremy Jeffress out there. Very capable, been in high leverage situations, you know, pitched in the postseason. And I think that's sometimes where the difference is between the way the Reds and they handle their bullpen and the Brewers. Because oftentimes, I mean, if Lorenzen's not available, that's one reason why the David Bell left Iglesias out for a couple of innings against the Cubs, I believe, and gave up a 3-run home run and still got the save, but it was less than satisfying for Iglesias. But if you take him out and the guy you bring in gives it up, you have no one else really to go to that is a high leverage pitcher. Whereas Counsell has Jeffress as a backup.
Here's Urban. He has a triple and a single. Triple to left center, single into right center. Tried to steal second, was thrown out.
Both on curveballs. I would imagine now, Grandal having seen that, they're going to test Peralta's heat. Oh, Peralta wants to go with a breaking pitch.
Tailing away from Kane, but he's able to track it down, and that will retire the side. But Yasiel Puig brings the Reds within a single run with home run number 18 on the year. We played 7-4-3 Milwaukee. I invite you to get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before the start of every game. Reds Live, we call it, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Ryan Giesenslaw, Jeff Pecoro on the pregame before the game today. You can always check out Jim Day and Chris Welsh as well. And tomorrow it'll be Jolice Shashin against Sonny Gray. And again, Reds Live at 6:30. Beautiful night here in Cincinnati. Still not completely the nighttime hours. Beautiful sunset to the west out behind the ballpark over to the third base side, first base side rather. Beautiful. Yelich against Lorenzen. Then it will be Moustakas who hit the 2-run home run to break the 2-2 tie in the 6th. And Ryan Braun, who's already been taken out of the game. So we'll see a pinch hitter for Peralta, one would assume. And you're in that part of the game now where, talking about earlier, you know, you can start thinking about Hader, you can think about Jeffress, but instead they have Matt Albers, big right-hander, down there getting loose in their bullpen. Reds will have Kyle Farmer, a pinch hitter for the pitcher. And then Nick Senzel coming up in the 8th. Balls, 2 strikes on Yelich. And Lorenzen going to get him out again. Those are big time numbers we just showed you for Lorenzen against Christian Yelich. Two-two game back in the 6th inning when Moustakas came to the plate against Tanner Roark. 2 outs in the inning and bye-bye. First pitch.
Yeah, first pitch cutter that really just didn't do a whole lot. I feel like Tanner Roark wanted that ball in off the plate and made a mistake and paid for it.
Moustakas last year in 152 games hit 28 home runs. In 79 games this year, he already has 24. There are going to be a lot of those guys around baseball this year. And Moustakas lifts a fly ball into right center field. Puig able to track it for the second out. And let's see who the pinch hitter is going to be. Looks like Jesus Aguilar. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky at Miami Valley Gaming.
The always colorful Jesus Aguilar. Hard to believe those are the numbers, but they are what they are. After hitting over 30 bombs and knocking in over 100 last year. Asked Craig Counsell about it. We talked to him before the game. He just said, go figure. Said, well, we don't know. Said, we don't know about Shaw either. Just have no idea. Said, you can sit there and break down film until the cows come home. And they thought that Aguilar was starting to turn it around in the middle of May at a 9-game hitting streak. And they thought, okay, the big horse is getting it going again. And since then, he's been less than a 200 batter.
Used to be a joke about baseball about, you get to this point in the season and you're not hitting your weight, but Aguilar raises that bar a little bit.
He'd have to be having a real good year to hit that weight. That's a big man. I mean, that is a big man.
He's a guy that when he was playing and playing well, very fun guy at first base, always smiling, having a good time playing.
Yeah, he was really fun to watch last year.
Yeah. But you can see some of the problems, though, in his swing. I mean, that front shoulder of his flying wide open. Watch that left shoulder just come way out of there, and his head coming off the ball.
And it's strike 3. What an impressive inning by Lorenzen. Just mows through Yelich, Moustakas, and Aguilar. Ohio, brought to you by Toyota. For all your Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by First Financial Bank. We put your success first. Learn more at bankatfirst.com. Member FDIC. And again, the battle for the Ohio Cup. Get any Sun or Moon Deck ticket, including the all-you-can-eat package. All you can eat, Saturday or Sunday against the Indians, for $40. Only for tonight. Go to Reds.com/FSOhio right now and get yours. All right, a 1-run game. Reds a couple of more cracks at them. They're going to start loading off left-handed hitters from the bench and sending them to the plate with the arrival of Matt Albers. It will be Jesse Winker to lead off the Reds' 8th inning.
First time the Reds ever saw Matt Albers, he was pitching for the Houston Astros in the National League. He is now 36 years old. Game number 36 for him, too.
Derek Dietrich stands in the on-deck circle with bat for Lorenzen. And in the top of the order, Nick Senzel due up third in the inning. Winker clubbed a home run here last night. Home run to left field. And this one straight up into the air will be out number 1.
Yeah, this is an interesting inning really for both managers because Craig Counsell knows full well that the Reds are going to do whatever they can to get every left-hander they have available in the game against Albers in this inning. So they knew that Winker would probably bat for Farmer and that Dietrich would probably come up in this inning as well, certainly for the number 9 spot. So David Bell's following his plan. Counsell may not feel the most comfortable about this, but he's 1/3 of the way through the inning after that fly out.
Dietrich with 18 home runs and a high fly ball center field. Kane drifting, and has room to haul it in. Gave it a ride. Any other part of the ballpark, and we're tied up. But it's out number 2.
Boy, some of the balls hit tonight just seem to keep going and going, and this one just kind of got there. At least watching Kane, it looked like he was going to prepare himself to leap and didn't have to, and just step in front of the wall.
Nick Senzel, 1 of 3, singled and scored in the first inning on the home run by Suarez. He's lined to center and flied out to left field. Joey Votto next. And it's back up through the middle and cut off by Arcia. And his throw not going to be in time. Senzel able to leg it out. It's good play by Arcia. But a tying run aboard with 2 outs here in the 8th.
The only player on the Reds team that beats this out is the guy that beat it out. High hopper, and when you see a high hop like that, chances are it's got a ton of overspin on it. And that's why Arcia had to field that ball deep, almost on the grass there behind second base. And by the time he cuts it loose, nice play, but Senzel beats it.
Well, Craig Counsell has a left-hander Claudio ready in the bullpen, and you have the left-handed batting Votto coming up, but it looks like they're going to stay with Albers. Or will they? Yep.
You can't ask for more if you're a Reds fan right here. Runner on base and Votto coming to the plate facing a right-handed hitter.
Votto has only seen Albers 1 time in his major league career, and Joey drew a walk against him. That's pretty interesting. I mean, he's seen really Claudio a lot, or at least, a number of times already this season. Let's put it that way, since Claudio came into the National League. And it's in there, a fastball strike at the knees. Claudio worked a perfect inning here last night. He came in after a Suarez home run and retired Jeanette, Senzel, and Dietrich. But it's Albers tonight. Gives up a 2-out infield hit. Senzel the tying run. And the 0-1 coming from Albers to Votto. One ball, one strike on Joey Votto. 2 balls and a strike. Well, the guy naturally you really want to see in the inning is standing right there in the on-deck circle. 4 home runs in the last 3 games, including a 2-run big fly to left center in the first inning tonight. Suarez. And the 2-1 coming to Votto. Pulled down the right field line into the corner. Senzel on his way to third. They're going to wave him around, and he will easily score. And Votto delivers with a double.
Votto's hit the ball hard tonight. And this was the most important one that he got. He went down and got a pitch and pulled it right down the right field line. So here comes Senzel. The Reds fortunate that they got their fastest runner coming around the base. No throw right there. The cutoff man was missed with the throw from the outfield. So the plan by Bell better than the plan by Counsell.
Yep, no question. Counsell electing to stay with the right-hander Albers rather than the left-hander Claudio. And Votto drives in his 22nd run of the year to tie this game up at 4 apiece. Reds have come all the way back from 2 down. And now just 1 away from tying David Concepcion for the 3rd most doubles in Reds franchise history. Congratulations, Joey Votto. So now a big chance for Suarez. Votto carries a lead run here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Not a better time to take a lead. And it's a fastball off the inside corner. The Reds have Yasiel Puig along with Jared Hughes getting loose in the bullpen. They're both ready by now.
One comes in if it's tied. The other comes in if the Reds have the lead.
All right, now's the time. Here's a 2-0 pitch to take the lead on. Oh, he took a lot off of that, did Albers, and clearly Suarez looking fastball did not get it. A strike call. Votto, the go-ahead run. Able, you would think, to get a good lead out there. Here is quite a ways away from him. Out there at second base. Well, had some bite to it. 2-2.
Well, his fastball is almost always a little sinker down and in. It moves more than anywhere else.
Suarez looking to give the Reds the lead. 4-4 game in the bottom of the 8th. And he strikes out 2 in the inning. But the Reds have scored single runs in each of the last 2 to tie this thing up. Votto, the big double. We go to the 9th. The Cleveland Indians in a 2-game series presented by Ultimate Air Shuttle. Battle for the Ohio Cup. For tickets, visit reds.com/150. New battery for the Reds. And they have some other changes. Well, that looks like it. It will be Kurt Casale now behind the plate. And taking over on the mound, Jared Hughes.
Well, as I said, if the Reds tie to keep the game up, Hughes will come in. If it's a safe situation, Iglesias is the man. Bottom half of the order here is it'll be Thames, Kane, and Hira.
Well, 1 to Thames. He is 1 of 2 at a solo home run to left center in the 5th, hit by a pitch in the 6th inning. talking the other night before Hughes gave up the grand slam to Javier Baez about how well he has pitched. You know, you go back to that game in Mexico where he allowed a season high 4 runs, and that was in the middle of April against St. Louis. His earned run average in 25 games since then is 1.9, but just seems like of all the pitchers in that bullpen, he has become the forgotten man.
Yeah, and he's the guy that probably needs more work than a lot of the others because he's a sinker ball pitcher, and that seems to help guys that rely on the sinker. The more you use them, the less rush they have, and the more that little two-seam fastball sinks.
Straight up in the air. And look, David Bell's not going to come out and say it. Derek Johnson, the pitching coach, is not going to come out and say it. But, I mean, clearly there is some reason why Hughes has not been leaned upon this year the way he was last year when he was just simply spectacular in this Reds bullpen. There has to be a reason. It can't be because of the numbers.
No, it could be you like other guys better.
Here's Lorenzo Cain. Want to know on Cain. Now, we have documented in the past that Hughes, for whatever reason, of course, he's pitched for these Brewers, pitched quite well for these Brewers. But when he's had to face him since putting on a Reds uniform, things have not gone well for Hughes. He's trying to change that here tonight. 2-0 delivery. And taking all the way Cain in there, a strike. I want to know one thing. There is no one who has his teammates rooting for him harder to do well than Hughes. There are a lot of guys that are very likable guys on this team. Hughes might be the most well-liked player on this team.
I think by other players and by the media and those that follow the Reds around it who have ever gotten to know Jared Hughes.
Two on Lorenzo Cain. Nobody on and 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. And Hughes walked him. Dangerous Keston Hiura. A single to center field, a ground ball to second, and a fly ball hit to deep center field. His last time up. Ground ball, and this is the way Hughes dials it up. That's the Jared Hughes we saw last year. Reds will come to bat in the bottom of the 9th with a chance to win it.
It is Reds Live, the post-game edition, as you see the incomparable Ron Millenor.
Yes.
Getting the set ready. Rufus, come on down the main concourse down the left field line sometime and say hello. And there's Condo Association President Joel Stuckey. Screen right.
Joel's dialed in.
He is. He's the man. He runs it down there.
And Ronnie Millenor there, he's so hard prepping for your show, Jim Day.
Laying out those stats.
All right, here we go. Bottom of the 9th inning. Jim Day will be down there. Junior Guerra takes over on the mound now for Milwaukee. We've seen him as both a reliever and a starter, much like Peralta.
Had a bunch of starts last year, 26 starts overall for Guerra. All of his appearances this year out of the bullpen.
All right. Scooter Gennett to lead things off. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Still looking for that first home run. He's 4 of 11 in his career against Guerra. Then you have Puig and Iglesias here in the Cincinnati ninth of a 4-4 game. High fly ball. Kane barely has to move. Now in 3, 4, 5 paces for the first out. Yasiel Puig with his team down 4-2 in his 7th inning. Drove this one to the seats in right center field for Puig, number 18. That made it a 1-run game before Votto's double to score Senzel, who had a 2-out single, tying the game in the 8th.
Now the question here is, will Yasiel Puig get a fastball on a hitter's count?
And he's hit with a pitch.
Yeah, that got him with a splitter right there. He was trying to fool him by taking something off of it, and it just kind of slipped out of his hand and come up and in on him. You can see that odd spin right there. Very little rotation on the split finger fastball. Got him in the bottom of the hand.
All right, now remember, over the weekend, in the Friday game and the Sunday game, Puig basically willed his team because of the way he ran the bases.
I'm going to take a replay review on that and see if it actually hit Puig's hand versus hitting the bat.
All right, so before we get to the stolen base stuff, let's wait and see if Puig is actually going to be a runner at first.
This is a helpless feeling, isn't it? For the manager on the left. Let's get rid of that. For the umpires and for the manager on the right. And they're going to give him first base. It was indeed a hit by pitch. Yasiel, I told you so.
All right, so remember now on Friday night, with the bases loaded against Cole Hamels, it was a ground ball, looked like it was going to be a double play. Puig broke up the double play at second base. Reds scored a run. Then Sunday, got a hit, stole a base immediately, scored on an Irvin hit. Later in the game, walk, stolen base by Puig, scored on another Irvin hit. Will Puig be running here early in the count? Not running on the first pitch, and Iglesias gave him a chance. Guerra in his career, opponents are 20 of 28 success rate at 71% and 5 of 5 against him this year. Puig has 13 stolen bases on this season.
He was leaning that time.
And it's the old quote, Chris, you've used it often, about it's not how many, but it's when you steal them. And that's why they were so important for Puig on Sunday for his team. Not running, and a foul ball out of play, and now Iglesias behind 0-2. How about that number right there by Iglesias? 15 hits on the year with an 0-2 count. Most among all players in Major League Baseball. And now time called by Iglesias. 4 runs, 8 hits for the Reds. 4 runs, 6 hits for Milwaukee. We're in the bottom of the 9th inning with Puig at first and 1 out. Straight away center field. This will be the second out of the inning. Puig going to try and tag up. Here he comes. Here comes a throw into second base. And Puig is safe. Boy, it looked like he was out of there. The ball beat him. I'm not sure what happened.
I guess Hira just didn't get the tag down.
And we might have another review.
Well, a gutsy play by Yasiel Puig. You know what? He slides right around there. He gives the decoy, coming in with the right hand, and then Hira just lays the glove down there, and looks like Puig gets to the bag with his left hand.
Yeah, they're not going to ask for a replay because they know that Hira just flat out missed it. All righty. So now the winning run at second base. And who is the guy that knocked in Puig twice on Sunday? You got it. The man who digs in there right now. Phillip Ervin. He has 3 2-out runs batted in the last 2 games. Strike 1. Ervin had the base hit in the 9th inning last night to knock in a run. And got to start against Chicago. A 2-out run scoring single in the 7th, or in the 6th, and a 2-out run scoring single in a 4-run 8th. And he dropped all 3 of them into right field, and Yelich has played way in and right. In the hole, it's short. Yasiel will throw in time, and a nice play by the Milwaukee shortstop. And we're on our way to extra innings, where the Brewers this year are 4-2, and the Reds this year are 2-5. In David Bell and Craig Counsell. I mean, tough, hard-nosed, outstanding fundamental players. Guys you wanted on your team, both of them. And here we are in extra innings, game 2 of this 4-game series. And now taking over on the mound will be the left-hander who certainly felt he should have gone to the All-Star game. And a lot of us around here feel like he should have gone to the All-Star game. He's not, and that's Amir Garrett.
Well, you can use that as motivation, I presume. If you think you're right on the cusp and you're not chosen, you can bury your head, or you can get a little bit tougher and show everybody who was in the decision-making process that they made a mistake. I think Garrett's the kind of guy to do that.
Saladino, the pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher, Junior Guerra. Where he's actually batting for Ben Gamble. That was part of the double switch, so I beg your pardon. This is Saladino. We saw him in the starting lineup here last night. Shortstop. And he went 0 for 3, drew a walk and scored a run. Jarrett Hughes, 1 inning, 1 walk, no runs. Nice to see him get out there and do well, given the chance again. You have the shortstop Barcia next, and then you have the catcher Grandal.
We started this game off, Tom, by talking about the bullpen, about how the rough run that they've had over the last 5 or 6 games, how some of these guys seem to be running on fumes now. And of course, nothing like an extra inning ball game to test it even more. But when you're, managing or coaching a game like this, you're so close, especially a home game in extra innings. These are the games that you really feel like you should walk away with the W. And you're willing basically to do about anything you can to win this game tonight. Worry about tomorrow. But all the while in the back of your mind, you're thinking, all right, what does my bullpen look like tomorrow? Of course, the Reds are looking for a way to get their newest pitcher into a ball game, Jimmy Herget. It would be his major league debut. Tight game last night, tight game tonight. No opportunity to ease him in slowly.
2-2 on Saladino. And now full count. Amir was very wild over the weekend. He pitched in a couple of those games in the Cubs series. He walked 2 in less than an inning, hit a batter, and on 3-2 gets Saladino swinging. 1 away here in the 10th.
The Amir Garrett slider is a lot like the Luis Castillo changeup. The best ones are not strikes. They look like strikes coming out of the hand. That's why the hitters swing at them. If the hitters wouldn't swing at them, you wonder how many of them would actually be in the strike zone. Nice to have a little 98 on the corner, though, to back it up.
0-1 the count on RC, and a fastball on the outside corner at 98 miles per hour is strike 2. So Amir trying to make quick work of Orlando Arcia. Reds will turn around the catcher Yasmani Grandal. Grandal has very good numbers as a right-handed batter. I mean, obviously you're talking about far fewer trips to the plate. But you look at his numbers as a right-handed batter. 256. He has 6 home runs and 82 at bats, and that's all for Arcia and Casali to make sure 2 down. Well, you look at how Garrett stacks up against relievers in the National League. This is all relievers, not setup guys. This includes closers. ERA, strikeouts per 9 innings, opponent's batting average, holds, well, I mean, all in the top 9. But of course, they don't take 9 relievers. But for that ERA to be where it is, and only Kirby Yates would be ahead of him in that category. It's hard to believe that You know, it was one of those situations where the Giants, though, their only player is Will Smith. And he's a left-handed reliever. And his numbers are not Amir Garrett's number. But it's been a long-standing rule where every team must be represented in the All-Star game. Votto and Garrett have a little bit of fun. They'll do that from time to time. They've done that a number of times together out there. Joey gives him the box out. I mean, that's an area where Garrett's got to be better. He's got to want that rebound more. And gone swinging Grandal, and Garrett fans the side. All right, here we go. Bottom of the 10th in a 4-4 game. Saladino, infielder by trade, will take over in left field after batting for Gamble a moment ago. And it's still Guerra on the mound. He hit Puig in the 9th. Puig went to second on a fly ball, tagging up. But he retired Irvin for the final out of the inning. Reds will have Kurt Casale to lead things off. Jose Peraza has moved into the on-deck circle, and then it's Nick Senzel. Check swing and a miss. Casale down, strike one. And Casale looks at a pitch right down the middle, of fastball for strike three.
He wasn't so sure it was down the middle, and he wasn't even so sure it was a strike. A little lift job at the very end of that by Grandal may have bought the strike. See why Casale didn't move the bat off his shoulder. You know, you pitch Peraza almost the same way you do Orlando Arcia. Down and away, down and away. Both of them have power if you get the ball up and you get it on the inner third. He can hit it about as far as anyone. He's had good numbers against Guerra, including a couple of home runs.
And a bouncer down to third base, and Peraza retired for the second out of the inning. Yasiel Iglesias is a man who will be coming in to pitch. No save situation, obviously, at home. Maybe you don't have to worry about it if Senzel can end this thing on one swing of the bat. He was a guy that kept the hopes alive. You may remember in that 8th inning with the Reds down a run, had an infield hit, and then scored all the way from first on the double down the right field line by Joey Votto. Senzel 2 hits and 4 at bats tonight. Check swing, and he run around. 1 ball, 1 strike. Votto get a chance to be the hero after tying the game in the 8th inning. Senzel hoping to give him that chance. Find a way to get on anyhow, anyway, with 2 outs in the 10th inning. Cardinals will be playing way out west in the Pacific Northwest later tonight. That game a few minutes from getting underway. Pirates in a delay beating Chicago 2-0. Two balls and 2 strikes. Senzel hanging around. Iglesias standing alongside the Reds bullpen coach out there, Lee Tunnell. Darrow long look into Grandal, and now once more a 2-2 delivery to Nick Senzel. Ball 3 up and in. Harris shakes off his catcher not once but twice, and now finally nods ahead in agreement on a 3-2 decision pitch. And he walked him, so Votto will get another chance.
What a solid at bat there by Senzel. Boy, if you judge him just by that at bat, you would have no inkling that this is his first year in the major leagues.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It is a far cry when Senzel bats leadoff compared to anybody else on his team. I know that, you mentioned very good reasons why David Bell might be doing it from time to time, but there is no contest as far as who gives you a feeling of something's about to happen when this guy's leading off. Well, Craig Counsell will go to his bullpen. I think he had the left-hander Claudio. He did not go to Claudio, you may remember, back in that 8th inning. And Votto made him pay for it. He will not make the same mistake twice. Let's go back to the 8th inning after Senzel had a 2-out base hit, infield hit back up through the middle, legging out that throw from Arcia. They gave Votto a chance. Craig Counsell stayed with the right-hander Albers, and Votto rips one into the right field corner, scoring Senzel, and that tied the game at 4, and that's where we are here in the 10th. 2 outs again. Senzel gets on base. And he's a winning run at first. Claudio, the left-hander, delivers a strike. Votto 0 for 2 in his career against Claudio with a walk.
You know, Claudio is one of those deliveries that a few years ago would be called for a balk every time. But now baseball has kind of changed its interpretation. Watch how he shimmies and shakes and turns his shoulders back and forth until he finally comes to stop. Once he comes to a stop, if you make another sudden movement without throwing the ball either to first base or the home plate, it would be a balk. He's ahead here 0-2.
Votto 1 of 4 tonight. Or 2 of 4, I beg your pardon. And this one popped up. This has a chance to fall in. Does it? It will be caught. What a play out there by Moustakas. A game-saving play because Senzel had already hit the third base bag. That's a great play by Moustakas.
Moustakas came a long way to get that ball.
Before the game, the bullpen had a little fun, a few bumps in the road over the last 5 days, but boy, have they been something else tonight. Lorenzen, Hughes, and Garrett, 3 1/3, no hits, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts.
I think last night's ball game, Tom, it really frustrated David Bell, and he met with his guys after the ball game and let them know that. And it may have had an effect, I don't know, but
you got it.
Will you take that all day and all night from Christian Yelich? I wonder what's going through the mind of Craig Counsell right now.
Now look, we ask the question all the time. We sit up here and we say, you know, Chris, in fact, I think you asked the question last night. We surprised that more guys don't get bunt hits the way the shifts are being played. But then the second part of all that is, that's Christian Yelich.
Well, when would be the answer? I mean, when you're 2 or 3 runs down and you need base runners, I'm all for taking a bunt. But if you're a guy that has hit 55 home runs in the last calendar year, and you're playing in the smallest ballpark, at least with the heat, the way it is here at Cincinnati, one of the smallest ballparks in baseball, against a right-handed pitcher, we'll take that every day of the week as a Reds fan.
No question about it. I'm just shocked. Shocked. What's a nice play by Iglesias. That ball had a funny spin coming off of it, and so here you get the bunt attempt by Yelich, and now one hopper off the bat of Moustakas, and you've gone through those first 2 left-handed batters, and 2 quick outs on 4 total pitches.
Yeah, it looked like Moustakas just trying to beat the shift right there. There was the third baseman Suarez standing there to make the play.
Manny Pena, right-handed batting catcher, will come up and hit for Claudio, 1/3 of an inning. High fly ball, and Yasiel Iglesias, a 6-pitch, 1-2-3, 11th inning. Well done. Suarez to lead things off. Jeanette to follow. Your Tri-State Buick GMC dealers. How about Suarez? 4 home runs in the last 3 games after having 4 home runs. What was it, Joel? In the I know it's 40 games, but it was like 150 at bats or something, like 152 at bats. All right, here we are. The last Red to hit 5 home runs over 3 consecutive team games was, boy, he wasn't here very long, but boy, did he make an impact. Greg Vaughn in '99. He had that monster September that year. As the Reds were trying to get into the postseason, they wound up having to play a 1-game playoff that year. Went toe-to-toe with these Brewers that final weekend and had to play a 1-game
play-in game
against the New York Mets, and a complete game shutout was turned in by Al Leiter of the Mets. One and one to count. I'll never forget, Bobby Valentine told me the next day, because they came to Arizona to start the division series, said of all the ballparks he's ever been in, Riverfront Stadium on that day was the loudest place he'd ever been.
I believe it.
Corbin Burns now takes over on the mound. We talked about how much better he's thrown the ball the last month and a half.
Of course, the long-lasting effect that he had on this ball club was that he was able to single-handedly change the no facial hair rule for the Cincinnati Reds forever and ever. Greg Vaughn, that is.
That's right. And that's strike 3 called to Suarez, and he's looking at the umpire in disbelief.
So you got to be kidding me. Pitch number 5 is the strikeout pitch.
All right, Scooter Gennett with a count of 1-0, and Burns running. We're in the 11th. 2 balls and no strikes. Reds were down 4-2 before single runs in the 7th and the tying run in the 8th. And Scooter beat with a fastball at 97 on 2-0, and he's out number 2. Here comes Yasiel Puig. Puig has already homered once tonight. It was his 18th home run of the season. And Burns going to work. Big swing and a miss by Puig. Puig looking out there and see his numbers against Burns, and don't think both of them don't know it. Lively crowd here tonight. They're into it here in the 11th.
And they're hanging around a little bit.
Yep.
Why not? Beautiful ball. Beautiful night to be out at the ball game.
Sure is.
It's been a good game.
And a rocket into center field on an 0-2 pitch. Well, I'd say, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy that you know, announcing for a home team of a club that I've announced, that when the ball hits his bat, does the ball jump off the bat like it does Puig?
I thought you were going to say, I can't believe that if you get Yasiel Puig to swing at a pitch you know, 12 inches outside and in the dirt on an 0-1 pitch. Why would you throw it right down the middle on an 0-2 pitch? I mean, it's no wonder why this year we've seen more 0-2 pitches hit for hits than ever before, because I think some of these pitchers are just firing it up there as hard as they can, hoping it hits the spot they're aiming for.
Yeah, and then turn around and look and make sure it hit a certain spot on the radar again.
Indeed.
All right, let's see if Puig tries to take off here. We wondered if he would run back in the 9th inning. He did not attempt to steal. He did tag up on a fly ball to deep center. There he goes.
Good jump.
Yep, no chance to throw him out. But it's fouled out of play by Iglesias. Iglesias trying to shoot that thing to the wide open right side, but now he's in a 0-2 hole.
Well, that's why it's so important if you're a pitcher in a situation like that, is you throw a first pitch strike, because the hitter is not going to sit in there and take another strike to get into a hole 0-2 just to allow the runner to steal second base. Burns, big guy, delivered to the plate.
Nothing at 2 on Iglesias. 2 down. Puig, the winning run at first base. We got a late start there, and Iglesias fouls it away. And a bouncing ball down the right field line. This is not going to score Puig, but it'll get him to third base. And Iglesias head ball circles through the infield. Here comes Puig. He is going to score. Reds win. Reds win. Reds win on the legs of Yasiel Puig. Tell you what, Chris, we talked about it the other night. This guy, the way he runs the bases, and I don't care whatever happened in Los Angeles, the way he is playing for the Reds, defensively, running the bases, has been so impressive.
Well, he's been single-handedly right in the middle of things. The last few ball games, did that in the Cubs series, does it right here. He goes from first to third. Very sloppy play right here by Thames to let that ball go through. And look at the opportunity presented to Puig, and he is right there to take advantage. Man, oh man. wild horse. You keep on running.
You ain't lying. You know, Chris, that's the kind of play you and I were talking about the other night with one of the Reds outfielders. It was just a lazy throw in from Yelich. He bounces it to the first baseman. He could have thrown the ball all the way in the air, but he throws it and it turns into a short hop by Thames, who doesn't try to get in front of the ball. And that's why it's so many little things that can be the difference between winning and losing, and having a player like Puig in that kind of aggression.
If you're not ready to take advantage of a play like that, you're never going to be able to take advantage of it. I mean, you've got to be looking for that opening, that little crack that the other team gives you, and you've got to have the, well, you got to have the
be careful.
Ability to go after.
Be careful.
And I mean to tell you, he is happy and he is leading this ball club right now. I'm sure he's happy as anybody in this ballpark to send him home with a big smile on their face.
There's no doubt about it. Boy, so exciting, Puig. You know, look, we're asked about it by visiting teams and the writers and their broadcasters all the time. What's Puig been like? And they're like, we don't know what happened in Los Angeles, but all we do know is that he has played and played very, very hard night in and night out for this Reds team. That cannot be denied.
There's no question about it. He struggled mightily offensively in the first couple of months, but he's having fun playing this ball game, and we're having fun watching him win ball games just like tonight. I can watch this play over and over and over again. I'm sure you'll see in the postgame show.
Boy, he's exciting. Reds win. 5-4 the final.